What's going on?
Oh, Kevin, what
Representing.
up?
Oh my God!
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I pulled out the podcast
Hey,
mic.
buddy.
Yeah, you sound so.
Ooh, you got the
you sound
podcast
so
mic?
professional.
I've got Casey's mic.
You
Nice.
also have
Wait,
the
but
podcast voice.
you sound
to-
so much better than I do.
You have to talk into the logo that says blue.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I gotta hit.
It's like
I gotta
the-
hit up Kevin. Wait, you got
It's
how do you
like-
have it set up? Oh, interesting. I have it set up all wrong.
Oh, there it is.
Oh wow,
We did it.
This is. Oh, I've been talking into the wrong side.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I'm here. That's the only reason I'm here.
So for whoever's
Sunset
watching
Park.
knows. So Kevin Huynh is our friend who he runs People & Co. And Kevin, what is People & Co? Oh, can you
Here
hear
we
me?
go. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was also listening to like the YouTube audio, and I was extremely confused. But now I'm here. I'm present.
Yeah, this
I
is
think
the
there's
delay
there's
between.
20-second time delay.
Oh, got it. Got it. It's so good to see your faces through this computer screen.
I know.
Same.
How you
Wait a
doing?
minute.
How you holding up?
I'm good. Am I able to like show you what? Well, there's a
Yeah,
giant
show
puzzle.
us the setup.
There's a giant
Nice.
puzzle next to me. There's
Hey.
Yoko, my fiance.
Hey,
Yoko.
Oh,
This area is where I stretch 40% of the day.
Nice.
I bought a pull-up bar that we're also hanging
Wow.
clothes
Full
on
prison
because we
workout.
started hand washing.
Wow.
I
You don't
saw
have to get into
the
that.
I saw the book. I saw the book on the bookshelf up there, like the red
Oh
one.
yeah. I mean, there are like 6 copies. It's my library. My library full of the one book I wrote.
Where,
it's a very narcissistic library. It's like the only books I have here are the ones I've written.
Would you like to borrow a book?
where
I
are
have
you
one
where are you calling in from, Kevin, for the 7 people streaming into this?
Calling in from Sunset Park, Brooklyn, about
How-
3 miles south of the Barclays Center.
How is Sunset Park in this new world?
Sunset Park is like, I live on a pretty busy avenue. I live on Fifth Avenue, which is probably like the busier one. And this is the avenue where you would find like grocery stores. I don't know if you can hear it, but the ice cream truck still comes by because apparently that's takeout, an essential service. What's
Nice.
up? I don't know. The neighborhood is quieter because a lot of the businesses are shut down. People are, still walking, doing their thing. Overall, like it's a weird dichotomy where it's both like sunny and nice, and I like love the neighborhood, but I'm also like worried about the neighborhood hurting.
Yeah.
Like I'm hurt by the neighborhood hurting. I just think about these various like establishments we go to, that cafe that was just
Yep.
getting started that we really like. That's like, yo, those doors are shut, and we don't know if they're gonna open again. And that's just sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
LES is very similar where like I go to a lot of those places and I know a lot of people who work there and like the owners and stuff, and I'm super worried about all that. Yeah. It's sad. It's really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, so every morning Yoko and I wake up, so we shifted our hours. We wake up at like 6-ish and then go for a run. Based on when like not a lot of people are awake, and we go down the industrial area, like towards the water. And it's like quiet, but there's also like a hospital over there. And I just can't help but think like, it's like that hospital is probably chaos and probably like hectic as hell. And then, a couple blocks away, I'm just like trying to figure out how to continue my, daily
Life.
routine in like a quiet way and stay at home. And it's, I don't know, there's like, I feel like there are just these weird sort of, buckets of experiences that are happening right now. And they like, a lot of them look the same inside the bucket and then like drastically different outside of it.
100%. And I think it's kind of converging to like 2 groups too, where it's like the people isolating and then the people dealing with the actual virus, right? Like that's kind of where we're at right now. And I'm actually trying to find ways of like, how can I help the other group? Because like, I'm obviously not a fucking doctor and I don't think I should go and do that, but there's other ways to help. So I'm actually like exploring those options now too. That's a better way to fight the boredom, I feel.
My mom works in she's like a director of infection control for hospital in Colorado, and she's working 7 days a week. How 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. every day.
How is she doing?
She still like greets me in an upbeat way, which I'm just like, wow, you are you are like a solid human.
Yeah.
I hope to develop such like, I don't know, resilience and bravery. She's doing
Yeah.
well. I think she's like what she was talking about was how this is almost like the thing that they've been preparing for
Yeah.
like, and I think she's taken her job really seriously, and she's been in this like position for like 5 years or so, and she started her career around SARS and went through like Ebola, and this is another level, and she's like, we wouldn't be able to handle what we're currently handling without all of like the work that we've been doing until now.
That's so wild.
But
That's
it's
cool.
still like,
Yeah.
it's like a heavy stress test, and it's like maybe the start. But yeah, she's she's just like doing her duty, and continues to show up.
All credit to her. All credit to her.
Yeah, I mean, I just started like FaceTiming more often just to like check in, and I don't know, as far as like a small thing I can do, I realize like, oh, she probably appreciates like, hearing from me in the morning if she's like getting ready for work at her 5:30 a.m., my 7:30, that sort of thing. This ice cream truck is still just like going for it outdoors. I'm glad in a way. I'm glad.
They're an essential business.
Yes.
That's amazing, Kevin. That's like, I feel it too. It's like very disconnected too, right? I kind of avoid the news sometimes to kind of stay in the bubble to be a little bit calm, but then I'm like, I have to actually get out of it to go actually help and contribute. So
yeah. Today's new rule is I'm just going to try to, whenever I'm reading the news, I should be stretching. Like, I just can't like, sit there and take it. And I've like, that's like the one sort of like hobby I've continued to overinvest in while like on, during quarantine. It's just stretching all the time. Those tight hamstrings have no excuses anymore.
Wow,
you'll be proud. I started using this service called Allo Moves, and they have a 28-day intro to yoga. So I've been yogaing every day. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually doing a little bit more faster than normal. I've been doing a couple of things per day because, like, got nothing else to get those tight hamstrings out,
Wow. Yeah. I can't wait to, maybe, back when we're out of quarantine, we can do one of those stretches where we like put our feet together and then we like grab each other's hands and like go back and forth or something. A little like rowboat.
We could try. I would also settle for just going to yoga class together. That could work too.
Yeah.
I would settle just to see you in person again. Yeah.
I'd settle for a drink and then
high fives and hugs will be like kind of a nice vibe when we get back to it.
Yeah.
The lack of like physical touch for a lot of people is huge too, I imagine, right? Like that's like a huge thing that you was provided that is now gone too. Do y'all watch the Como briefings?
I've been watching them, not even because I want to, but because apparently every time I eat like lunch or guess brunch, he just happens to be on. So it's like I just see them by like default, and I actually like them a lot. Like I feel like he starts strong with like the data, then he gives like the action plan, and then he like ends with like a nice like moral support. He's like, this is a time for fortitude. And you're like, let's do this. So I'm pro Cuomo right now. Who knew I would say that?
Promo. What time do they happen? What time do they happen each day? I watch like clips off the New York Times.
Like 11:30.
Yeah. Like around then.
Yeah, I've been seeing the clips too. The CNN stuff with his brother, those clips have been hilarious too.
He's like, I talked to my brother this morning. It's just like, all right, brother, calm down.
It's like family updates happening, but on, broadcast television.
I find them really comforting, and I think the one thing I caught today was like they're staffing up a bunch of people for mental health services too, like volunteers coming out, so they have like a hotline. I think that's great because to your point, like it is all, whatever level of exposure you are to it, it's all going to be some form of trauma that you will have to process later on. Right now we're kind of living through it, but from like the healthcare workers to the small businesses and the workers to like people forced to being remote, which is like the most privileged of all those scenarios, right? But everyone's kind of going through it together. So I thought that was like a little nugget where I was like, oh, this is great. Like I'm really glad we're doing that. It's also like all the things where I'm like, I wish we did this before before a pandemic happened. That just seemed like a good idea to do no matter what.
Yeah.
Kevin, I want to ask you. So like your whole you're an expert in community building and like all that stuff. Like I'm curious of what you've seen with people just trying to figure this out, like trying to find space.
Yeah, good question. I've been trying to like hold back on talking about it a bit because I think there are some like I think there's a wave of like hot takes going out. It's just like immediately there are people like, this is what you need to do in virtual, like,
Remote work is
remote work,
forever.
top 10 tips, this and that. And then like, as well as, folks immediately coming with their like ideas around, mutual aid or collaborating on like,
Yeah.
you know, you know, building hardware, creating masks and that sort of thing. I, I don't know yet. I think in short, I think I think there's some interesting things on like neighborhood level that, at least as far as like the level of need goes and like who we can impact,
Mhm.
there's a lot of, I think there are groups that are like springing up because of that. And then a lot of like the independent community leaders that I work with that were running like in-person meetups across New York City that, aren't as, locally focused. I think they're really rethinking like what is their role like right now and kind of like short-term and long-term. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's the only kind of my only like North Star right now is I think there's a point of like what's sort of urgent and what's going to happen right now, and then there's like a difference with where I think this was Kai, who's my business partner, who's Canadian. He just keeps saying like, we don't need to skate to where the puck is going. We need to skate to where the puck is going to be. So I think there's some level of like what's really happening right now and some of it, absolutely necessary, like in response and reaction to certain things. And then there's a point of like, what do our communities look like and what are the important communities in our lives and what are the communities that we are like actively trying to build a year or two from now, like based on like kind of what has happened and where we are like individually. So, I'm just trying to like observe and, our company, people and company is trying to like, we do sort of like coaching and advisory around like how to cultivate authentic communities. And we're trying to figure out like where, what is our role to play, both within like the business landscape as our business, as well as like, around sort of just our mission to help people get people together. So yeah, to be determined.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like in talking to people like past couple of weeks, it feels like there's just this big like reevaluation going on. And we were just talking about this Casey earlier, where everyone's just kind of like, do we really need to be in this meeting? Do we really need to do this event? Do we really need to do it this way? And like, probably part of that will shift a lot of behaviors to be like, this is like kind of craft versus this is actually kind of where the real value of doing this interaction is.
Yeah.
To be interesting.
Yeah. And I know we defined community building as like communities or groups of people who keep coming together over what they care about. And I think what is happening is like a shift in what people care about too. Whether those be like they have dire needs right now that they care about more than that other thing, or their priorities in general or their interests in general are shifting based on like what they can and can't do. And I think that will like change the communities we regularly participate in, as well as the ones that like we want to the ones that we want to start and then like invest more time in like and building something around.
Yeah. Speaking of just figuring out what's important, Kevin, what do you do to fill the extra time besides stretch?
Great questions. What do I do to fill the extra time? Well, there are some things that like I already did. I guess a number of things I already did that I've just like doubled down on. So I already cooked a lot, and it's just now cooking holds in even more like kind of emotional support, like place in my life. And so before, like cooking night was like Tuesday night and probably over the weekend, and then now it's like I almost like hold my groceries so I can have something to cook like every night. So I can like, we can pick up the knife and like use the pan and do that. And then I bought like $100 worth of video games. That's real.
Nice.
Like, there was a March Madness like PS4 sale, and it was like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was like 20% off. And I was just like, now's the time. we're just gonna do this. So that's like, I don't know. I've like Yoko forwarded me some like article of like an astronaut giving like advice about like living in isolation, and it talked about like having a pre-regimented schedule to ensure that you like do the things that you like will be thankful that you do, including like making time for fun. So it's like I've started to think about how like, yeah, in the mornings there's this really specific schedule that involves like that I can like go for a short run and then go journal and then make breakfast and then go meditate and then go read the news and then go 10 pull-ups to shake off the news and then like remote work, which is like, I'm thankful. Like, yeah, that's awesome that like, we're able to do that right now. And then in the evening there's like this stuff and then just like fun time, which currently is maybe filled with video games or X, Y, or Z.
That's great. Can you share that article about the astronaut and self-isolation? We can share that one out. Yeah. So we should all play more video games. Got
it. Surprising lesson, but I'll accept.
Fuck I love that I'm being enabled.
I was right.
This is keeping me healthy.
I got to bounce. I got a little virtual lunch date. But it was so good to see y'all.
It was great seeing you. Great seeing you too, Yoko.
Be safe. Take care.
See you, Kevin.
We'll
Thank
talk
you for
soon.
the tips.
Can't wait to. We'll compare how far we can touch our toes later. Goodbye.
Get some ice cream before the day goes.
I got a dip too. Thank you for hanging. This is fun. I'll see you in the chat.
See you in the chat.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, Casey. It's like a club. People just coming and going.
I know, seriously.